Hi guys, I hope you're all safe and using this time productively. I had a rather unproductive day, if I could say so, but I'm pretty satisfied because I did not study or read management finance or did not do much of office work. I just did a little bit of coordination and all of that. But I ended up reading a lot and watching a lot of material on something else. So I do read at times read about history, politics, and I'm taking a keen interest on philosophy now, a bit of it, not too much, but so it's good to enrich yourself with different areas, different disciplines as well. But one should do that, I believe, after you've gained expertise in a certain domain. So I think there's always, when people talk about that Bill Gates read this book this year, these books he's read. So I don't want to read those books in that particular year because he's read those after reading thousands others. So I have not reached that level yet. So even when you guys are following recommendations and all, please understand the background and the travel. I mean, of course, he's reading great books, but I have not read the ones he's already completed. So you have to figure out. So anyways, the topic for the discussion is something else. The topic of discussion basically is that obviously we understand the Chinese Wuhan coronavirus is going to be having major repercussions on the economy. There is no doubt about it. We can keep on denying ourselves. We can keep on saying no or not taking this very seriously in terms of how it is going to be impacting the economy. But of course, we understand there is going to be a major global impact. I cannot predict that because I cannot predict exactly how many people are going to get infected. I'm not doing those calculations. I'm not sitting down with the economy and global economy and studying all the data and spending a month on it. So therefore, I will not be able to make a 100% accurate, prediction. So there are people who would say this is going to happen. There'll be another set of people, and whatever be the outcome, based on that, people will claim that they were the right ones. But nobody, in reality, you have to understand, nobody will be able to give an exact prediction. But anyways, the discussion is not about what is going to happen to the economy, because I'm assuming that the economy, of course, is going to be going through a major turmoil. It may last for a year and a half, 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 quarters, that we do not know, and we are yet to see that. And what will be the extent of impact across the globe? Because obviously, even once the cases have subsided, there will be less amount of travel, tourism, oil industry. All the industries are going to be very, very majorly impacted, and it will take time for the businesses to normalize, and the countries to open borders to each other. And the losses that you're already making, or the loans that the government is taking in order to revive the situation, or the liquidity input that the banks have, the RBI and all have tried to do all across the countries, all across the world, the countries have tried to do. Of course, they're going to be having repercussions. You cannot just keep on printing money and pumping in the economy and then expect nothing to happen and enjoy with that money, right? So we'll have to face those repercussions. But the discussion what we need to have right now is that, so I'll give you the situations that I'm getting LinkedIn messages and WhatsApp texts and conversation around. So one is that a lot of MBA students who are yet to go for their summer internships. A good number of their summer internships stands to be cancelled. A lot of people who had their internships, that is cancelled. In fact, we had a 1-month internship for a 6-week internship for a college for the final year graduation students, and we had around 11 intakes out there, and it unfortunately had to be cancelled from the college's end, not our end. But obviously, it's postponed or cancelled. We don't know. The next one is there are a lot of people who are going to be losing jobs. That is going to be a very, very severe and extreme situation. There are situations where people are not going to be getting their bonuses, hikes, perks, promotions and all. There are situations where companies have done a hiring freeze, and therefore there is going to be a major issue when I talk about those who have recently passed out or those who are graduating this year. They are going to be in a very, very difficult situation. Now, so how are these people supposed to be reacting? How are these people supposed to be taking things forward? That is what I wanted to discuss. So the first thing is, you need to set your expectations right. You have to understand, can you control the economy? Can you control a company? Can you force a company to pay you an XYZ amount because of your XYZ ability? You cannot do so. We are going to try. I'm not saying that you should be accepting less than what you deserve, but we have to again do a reality check. So we need to understand the reality and accordingly react to it, which is going to be in our favor in the long term. That is what I'm looking at. So first of all, we need to have the right set of expectations, and the expectations needs to be lowered given the kind of economy we are entering into. Now, when you're looking at the businesses and all, of course, they are going to be having, just imagine 3 months, 4 months worth of revenue gone, but a good amount of costs are still being incurred. I am assuming that the businesses would not be firing employees just like that. And they would be managing in a much, much better way. You have to understand the interest costs that businesses are incurring, and particularly when the interest costs have been lower, have been lowered already earlier as well. So therefore, businesses are highly leveraged. And depending on the kind of economy, you see the kind of competition that is there. Today, even when you are, not satisfied with the service of an X company, you immediately just tell the company X on the face that, if you don't have if you have a problem, I'll go to company Y, big deal. That is the kind of reaction we've started giving, because we become extraordinarily consumeristic in our lifestyle, and there is a certain level of ego that has come up as a consumer, because when you're purchasing something, you feel like you own the company and you ought to receive everything by the book and by the word. So these things have created a lot of tremendous competitive pressures on the companies. Companies do resort to cost cutting, therefore. And if the company's revenues are going to come down, they are going to be laying off employees. It's not a question whether laying off the employees is correct or not, or whether the CEO accepting an XYZ salary, is that justified in such a situation? Yes or no? That's not how what we are discussing. And it's good that certain CEOs and certain people have come forward and they've let go of their salaries, or have taken a major cut in their salary, etc. But say for example, if I'm asking you, say for example, you're earning 1 lakh rupees a month. So there would be someone in office who's earning, let's say, 20,000 rupees in a month. So would you be okay with taking a 20% slash and not let go the employee who's earning, let's say, 20,000 rupees a month? Do you think that is going to be something that you will be okay with? So how could you expect the CEO to absolutely forego his entire salary, or the owner to forego entire income of his and then provide the entire money to you? So we have to be a little realistic when we come to it, when we come to think of it. So we need to understand that the economy is going to be performing really poorly. We do not know how bad it is going to be, but we need to lower our expectations. So the economy will be bad. That is okay. I'll have to deal with it. That is the first step we need to follow. The second one is you have to be patient. Particularly, it is going to be a problem with those students who have just graduated this year, who are just coming up, who are just joining the markets. They are going to be having a very, very difficult time frame right now, because they're going to get a start which are going to get a low start. I'm sorry, but that is how it is going to be. There will be cases where the companies cancel their or withdraw their offer letter and all. So these kind of situations as well we are going to be facing. You have to, guys, I'm sorry, but we have to become prepared, and we have to come up to this reality. We have to accept this reality. So the one thing that we need to now learn is going to be a tremendous amount of patience. So I'm going to tell you how it is not going to be bad. It's not bad. It's just a reality. We got to accept it and we got to move forward. There are people who are born in rich families. There are people who are born in poor families. Does not mean everybody in a poor family is going to be crying or not happy, and the rich people are going to be happy. It's rather the other way around at times when I see. So it's not going to be that way. It's about how you take it. And it's not about today. You can be unhappy today. You can be irritated today. But how is that going to be impacting your future? That is the question that I'm trying to address. Okay, you're unhappy right now. Big deal. It's fine. We're human beings. We are going to be happy, sad. There are going to be different phases of life. We got to learn from it. That's okay. But the problem is that if you are going to not react in a particular way, in a proper way right now, in a matured manner today, in that case, you're going to be spoiling your future. That is what I'm trying to address in this session with you all. So one is you need to have tremendous amount of patience. I'll also go about telling you how do you do that. The next thing is you're not supposed to be making comparisons. So the problem is that, my friend is still getting an XYZ, I'm not getting this. Or my neighbor is getting this, or my classmate is getting this, my colleague is getting this. He did not get a pay cut, I did. He was not laid off, I was. So it's not that the entire company's workforce will be laid off, right? There will be partially people will be laid off, could be laid off. I'm not saying it's going to happen in every single company, but that is a possibility and we got to accept that. So we cannot be comparing with people and victimizing ourselves. I am not a psychologist and all, but one thing I have understood from my experience with people, with talking to a number of people, is that being depressed, again, I'm sorry if I'm being very casual about it, but it's going to be more of, I know there are people who are clinically depressed and they need help, and absolutely fine with that. But you have to understand one thing: if you're learning, if you're growing, if you're occupied, there is going to be lesser probability that you will feel depressed about yourself, because you will be getting confident as a person, knowledgeable as a person, right? So what you have to do is, at this point of time, do not victimize yourself. And do not be a bechara about everything, and that, oh, this happened with me, why everything is going against me. You cannot play that card right now, because that is not going to help you. It's rather going to be pushing you down the lane in the same direction. So we cannot be comparing with different people. Now what we need to do is, we need to evaluate our best options. Say for example, someone is looking for a job. Now there are choices. At times I'm getting questions with respect to that aisa job hai, I'm getting such a kind of a job, it's better not to take up a job and rather to study right now. So of course it's a very, very practical way of thinking in terms of your opportunity cost in the sense that if I'm going to be studying right now and not not taking up a job, in that case I would be adding to my credential in the next year or 2 years by taking up an MBA or whatever designation you're looking at. And then after that, I will be the markets will improve in a year or two. I will be entering the market with a better credential. So that is one way of looking at it. But then again, I would say that MBA and CA, obviously you'll not be able to work along with a CA or along with an MBA. CA, I've seen very, very few people who are able to manage, with the final exams with a job. But with respect to CFA, FRM, I would not advise you to leave your job and study at home. You'd rather be better off in terms of, being in the market, getting your experience. So, and leaving a job for an executive MBA, again, I feel is a very, very poor option. Particularly distance learning MBA is a very, very bad option, because what MBA teaches you, again, that's a different discussion. I think I'll do a podcast on that. I'll do a discussion on that sometime later, but not a very good idea at all, because MBA is supposed to be a lot for your grooming, placement, that team learning with hundreds of other students staying with you. So there's a lot of other factors involved. So I'm not very keen on that. But because it's not going to give you that level of knowledge, the case study approach, the discussions in the class and the presentations and all. So that's a different discussion altogether. So I'll not get into that part. But there are people who are doing that cost benefit analysis in terms of entering the job market right now, not entering the job market right now. Understandable. I have never recommended, and I personally do not recommend people to leave job for studying and sit back and study. I'd rather say that, if you have a job, if you're having a good job, in that case, you spread across that the study, maybe instead of 2 years, you achieve your designation in 2.5 years or 3 years, but again, sustain it with job. The reason why I say so is that, one, you build a level of tenacity in terms of, the amount of work you can do, because choosing to quit a job and then studying at home is an easy way out. Right, but to stretch yourself to be able to manage a job and then the education part is actually something worth commending, and you add to your experience, you're learning, you're applying, and obviously when your resume shines, right, because you are being seen as a hard worker and someone who's able to manage education and work together. Of course, it does not apply in case of a CA or an MBA, because you have to leave, go to the college and study and all. So that is something that you need to evaluate in terms of what you can learn. The second question that comes up is in terms of your sustainability. So you need to check your sustainability in terms that without a job, how long are you going to be able to sustain? Again, do a very, very thorough analysis, because at times people go wrong. Even when I left my job and came back, things did not exactly turn out the way I was expecting it to be. So you need to understand that what is the level of sustainability that you are going to have in case you leave the job. Because again, as I told you, the opportunity cost in terms of money kam dekhna chahiye. I think, even if I'm not getting a little less money, but I'm getting a very good profile, I think I'll go for the job. So again, you need to, because again, you're probably going to, I'm not saying everybody is going to get a bad option, everybody is going to get their pay cut or raises gone. It depends on the company you're in the industry you're in, the kind of position you're in, the kind of work you have shown. So it depends on a lot of other factors. So I'm not trying to build up a gloomy picture over here, but rather I'm trying to make you more confident in terms of managing such a situation a little more positively, which is going to be you may not be very happy about it in the first 6 months, 8 months or so. But if you follow this, I'm pretty sure, I'm very, very confident you're going to be coming out as a much, much more successful person at the end of 2 years or so. So you need to again think of the bigger picture here. So when we are looking at the sustainability part, and then you have to look at the payment option. So when you're comparing between the different choices you have, you look at the pay, you look at the profile, and you look at the location. I believe the profile is the first, and then the pay, and also the company. Now the company is not very important to me, honestly. I don't find the company to be that important an aspect, but I believe that 5 years later, wherever I want to be, is this company, this profile, this pay, is this going to get me where I want to be? So, the learning that you get, I mean, somewhere I read there's a boss that you choose to work with. So one of my colleagues had sent that, and I felt really happy seeing that, you need to ultimately learn from the person that you're working with. So even some of my students come and tell me that, that in this office, this guy is teaching me this, and he's making me work so hard, and he's teaching me a few things. So I feel really happy that, yeah, you're in the right place, the guy is making you work hard. So you need to be working hard in this. So you have to see the profile, what is going to be your learning, and 4 years, 5 years down the line, how is it going to be helping you? Do not just get disappointed in terms of the pay aspect. The second thing that you need to do now, what you need to do in this time frame. So this is, I think I've spent a lot of time just building up on it. But first of all, what you need to do is, in the next couple of years, since you're entering or are in the market already and are going to be sustaining a relatively difficult time, one, you need to have extreme amounts of depth in terms of your knowledge, in terms of the work that you do. This phase of the economy is supposed to teach you. It's an amazing, everybody is able to spend a lot of money, market, sell, do things, and get the company to a good situation in a good economy. But in a bad economy is where your real learning is going to happen. So cherish this as an extraordinary learning experience. It is crisis situations that you're going to be able, and just imagine if you're able to manage a crisis situation well, just imagine what is your value to the organization and what is your evaluation in your eyes, after the crisis period is over. Just imagine how you would feel about yourself and how valuable you become for the organization. And how would any other organization, in case you plan to shift, is going to value you, your experience, your credibility in terms of managing such a situation. So one is, you need to have an extraordinary amount of depth of things. So just don't manage things, superficially and all. You need to be managing things in a lot of depth now. You have to take this as a learning experience. I'm pretty sure it's going to be at least the next 2-3 quarters for sure. Again, I mean, I have not done any analysis or anything as such. As of now, I've not yet released a report or something, but it is just, from the preliminary or a glance that I can assess and understand. The second is, you'll have to work exceptionally well on your EQ. You're supposed to be learning a lot of negotiation skills, because this is a time where the economy, the businesses are going to be very, very frugal. Your negotiation skill, your team management skills, you facing difficult situation, your crisis management skills are going to be coming in very, very handy. You need to learn absolutely everything about it, because I believe there is going to be a little lack of workforce, in the sense that there will be thinner teams now, leaner teams now. So you need to do that. You need to learn a lot of selling skills, because right now getting clients, getting payments from people, getting more business, getting the job, sustaining the job, having a positive work environment, keeping things moving in your offices is going to be a challenge, and therefore you need to have exceptional level of selling skills. And for those who don't, you have to learn. You can be in marketing, you can be in business, you can be in analytics, you can be in finance, but there is something you have to be able to sell. Sell your ideas, sell your research, sell your project, sell anything. You have to be able to sell. People make, I know people, and I have recommended people to make different versions of their resume. So, whatever skill is going to be, so there was this kid who asked me that, whether I should write my startup as an experienced part or not. So I told him it's very simple. The kind of company you're applying to, accordingly you'll have to pitch your resume. It's not that I'm trying to teach you to lie to someone or be unethical. It's just that you have to show those attributes which is going to be able to sell you better. So depending on the profile, if the profile is going to be requiring a good amount of management skill in crisis situations and thinking on your feet, on your toes, and those kind of situations, in that case you put your startup experience on your resume. So we'll have to, again, you create different versions of resumes. Apply. Don't get disappointed by applying to 20 or 100 companies and getting a no for an answer, or pinging 20 or 100 people on LinkedIn, and if you do not get a reply or do not get a positive answer, but rather keep going on. Like, ask questions like, say, for example, if someone says no, ask something like, I understand that the economy is doing very, very poorly at the moment, and that's the reason why, I would politely pester and question that how could I make it better, or what could I do in this economy to get my profile selected. Just something. So apply to 1,000 places. If 100 is not working, that is absolutely fine. And do not be the disappointed and the pessimistic person, because although you'll be resonating with you will be able to click a conversation with people, but for how long? So don't be a crybaby, rather be a survivor, rather be someone who's very, very confident that, yeah, it's a cycle, it's a business cycle, markets are not doing well, corona is not going to be there for lifetime, it's going to take a year or 2 years or something, we'll learn, 2 years later we'll start earning more amount of money, big deal, it's fine. So that is the kind of approach you'll have to have, and you also know the reality that it is going to be a temporary phase, but the temporary phase could be a little prolonged. Right. And also what you need to do is you need to be empathizing with your boss, with your manager, with your company as well, because you have to understand that your manager might also be having a lot of, I know a lot of people would not want to hear this part, but he will be having his own pressures, which is coming up from above, and there would be, the leadership team might be answering questions like, I did not receive the payment, I'll sue you people if you do not make the payment. Just imagine getting these kind of calls. Or getting mails from banks and that, I'll sell your property, I'll finish off your company, or a number of situations where even the leadership is trying to crack deals and they're not being able to get deals. And just imagine the helplessness. I'm not saying that it is true in all the cases. There are people who are compassionate about their employees, about their team, about their colleagues, but there are at times where people just try to be an obnoxious person because सास भी कभी बहू थी, because manager भी कभी associate tha or something. So it could be that. I'm not talking about that kind of a situation, but everybody is dealing with their own pressures, and dealing with the pressures is what everybody has climbed up the ladder. And the more the pressure you take right now is the better you're going to be doing in the future. So that is one thing. You need to have a lot of self-confidence right now, because the money you're making, or the promotion that you're not getting, or the bonus that you're not getting, does not reflect on you or your performance. So you have to accept that really very, very well. You cannot be disheartened that I did not get this bonus money, so therefore I'm not being able to take this XYZ vacation, or do hell with the bonus money, I'm going to take a loan and take a vacation. Both the cases are very, very incorrect. So you have to understand that you cannot take it on yourself and reduce your level of confidence or your self-worth in your own eyes. You cannot do that. There is going to be job losses. There is going to be a lot of underemployment also. So you may not be exactly enjoying the kind of work you're going to do, but you have to understand that every single thing that you do is going to be making you learn a lot of things. So I'll give you a simple example. There was a time where we were trying to structure something. I remember me and my senior, we both sat down in the office, and there was such kind of data cleaning and all we had done, like creating 60 folders and typing the names of those 60 folders from PDF. I've done it all, and so I know how much time it takes and what mistakes can happen. You have to do the job, so it doesn't matter what kind of job. I remember there was this vehicle analysis we were doing, and the Innova ka 20 spellings, Scorpio had 20 spellings, all the cars had different spellings, because we collated data from like 100 different data points, and cleaning the data took me a week, but that made me very, very fast at Excel. My shortcuts, my typing speed, my the cleaning of data I learned. So I learned a lot of, and while cleaning the data I understood that okay, this is how the data needs to be maintained in the future, so therefore this is the kind of sheets that people need to fill up. So I understood so much doing that. So any job is not menial job. You have to understand that. So there is a lot of learning that you're going to be able to derive out of this situation, which you'll not understand right now. You'll understand a year and a half or two later, because then you'll be able to connect the dots. But if you're not making those dots, there'll be nothing to connect. right? So think about it. So do not be disheartened. And the other thing that you need to work on is your personal finance. I'm very happy I received a message the other day where a student said that, unlike the other millennials, she was not spending her salary on useless things, and rather she was saving a lot more, she's reading a lot more, and she's being very frugal about it. So I am very happy. Like, it's not because of the kind of situation we are in today, but even earlier I always take this example of cars because that is a very big expenditure that a person makes. Ghar and gadi. So the car and the house are the relatively high, high value expenditure that people make. And at least the house is going to be an asset, but car is an expense. So I'm very happy that I have not bought a car or something. I'm using one for 5 years, and I'm planning to use the same for the next 5 years, or even small things. Car example, I think you might have heard from me, but parking the car outside the mall instead of inside the mall, because I save 30 rupees an hour. You can call me cheap, but I save 30 rupees an hour, which for a movie it would be saving me a 90 rupees. And if I'm having this habit for God knows how many years, just imagine the amount of money I would have probably saved in that. So just because someone gets a job, someone gets a credit card to swipe, I see people start spending recklessly. Just because you got a job, you spend the entire salary or maybe 2 months salary at times on an iPhone. So I don't understand that. So, you have to understand, and you cannot be making doing expenditures for neighbors, cousins, relatives, or just to show anybody or friends. You cannot be doing your expenditures. You cannot be spending money on these useless things like that. I obviously, everybody has got this thing of, they want to go to Europe and travel and this and that. But now the destinations we're really badly looking for, wanting to go is Kedarnath one, and I think it's Hampi, because there are a lot of good historical, historical temples and all to visit, and there's just so much more over here as well. So and even when I have been outside, you'd be surprised to know there was a backpacking trip that we went to. We shared rooms, and the way we traveled through using buses only. So it was an extremely frugal trip that I had been to last year. So yeah, the small things do matter. Small things do matter a lot, obviously. So you have to think about your personal finance. You cannot be spending recklessly, because I keep my expenditures very low. Be it in I spend in my office, but I don't spend in my house. So because my expenditures are low, I'm not that worried. So if you keep your expenditures low, your savings will grow. You'll automatically be more confident. So you need to start thinking about it, because don't get swayed by, don't get persuaded by this social media and all of this nonsense that people do. Even I was going through a post. It was a very nice post where the memes today are also there to kind of frame your thought or give you a certain give you a certain perspective. So that is actually the unfortunate reality, because I know a couple of the scoop whoop is an absolute rubbish. These people have their own agenda and paid agenda and all. So I've seen a couple of articles, I start unfollowing them. I don't want to follow people who are detrimental to the country. So at least this is the least bit I can do. I know it sounds a little, you'll find me very old school, but again, also going through so many people who have, the best example I could give you is Ray Dalio's Principles. He has written a book called Principles. So you have to have certain value system if you want to be successful, which I'm very, very happy that, I'm surrounded with good people and people who are pushing me to realize this, because everything is not chalta, everything is not, the kind of millennial lingo and all people use and the way things are. Of course, I enjoy memes as well, not that I don't go through them, but the moment I find something which is unethical, I immediately unfollow those pages or unfollow those people. And again, I always look at the credibility of the person who's giving an opinion. So Bollywood is absolute rubbish when it comes to giving opinion on anything intellectual for most of the people, and unfortunately they are paid, and I don't have the time to figure out who's paid and who's not paid. So don't get don't get what do I say? Don't get brainwashed by all this. You can't pay a ridiculous 20,000 or 30,000 on a handbag or something. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand that. So you have to understand these things now. You cannot frame your happiness on what is being sold. or just because some XYZ moron is taking a photo and publishing in some magazine using some dress or using some handbag or something of this sort, and if they're paying that kind of money, it does not mean you have to do the same. Understand, it's a business expense for these people, these idiots, to do all this. So not that everybody is going to be an idiot, but of these are going to be idiotic, but most of them unfortunately are. So again, I have my biases, but that is based on the kind of statements that these people have given. So anyways, let's just keep that apart, but do not get brainwashed by media. Do not spoil your money, your hard-earned income. Do not waste your honest living based on something that the media is trying to push you to buy. So even with respect to when you go through Amazon's case study and the way they're manipulating to get their products sold, as in, not the other vendors' products sold and everything. If you go through these things, you'll realize so much of it, is being done in order to make us more consumeristic. So I'm pretty happy, honestly, staying at home, sitting by my window, reading a book, talking to a video call kar lete. I video call my sister or something if I need to, and it's fine. I'm wrapping up my lot of work, and so you can keep on complaining about it. I know there's no option that I have, so why not just enjoy the time that I'm getting? And maybe once you'll be having a very, very hectic schedule at office, you'll probably long that I need a week at home to sort out all my work and to just sit quietly and relax. And so you have that time right now, might as well utilize it. And even with respect to your job, the more pressure you're going to take, just imagine the amount of speed, efficiency and everything that you're going to be developing for yourself in the next 2 years. The kind of stress you'll be able to take. So you need to work on your EQ, and your self-confidence, your self-worth should not go down based on whatever is happening in terms of a pay cut, in terms of a bonus gone or something. And it can definitely not be affected by what you buy, what you wear. I buy everything in sale. I think I mentioned that earlier as well. One of my favorite websites to buy, the apps to buy, is bewakoof.com. I buy a lot of stuff from there for me and for my nephews as well. And there also, I never buy something which is not on sale even on that app. So I don't care. You can judge me all you want. It doesn't matter. But what you need to understand is that ultimately it's my hard-earned money, right? I am going to decide how I want to spend it. Not the media, not the social media, not my friends and relatives, for sure. So think about it. So cut down on your expenses. There are a lot of expenses we do absolutely unnecessarily. So I barely use my credit card. It's only for company purposes the credit card is used. But personal expenses I barely use. I don't think I use credit card unless I have to. And I use my debit card. I use the NEFT thing or a Paytm thing, but not the credit card, because I'd rather spend money that I've already earned. Why would I want to spend the money that I've not earned? Now, don't tell me about the interest cost and all for a month. I think that is okay. But just imagine the amount of money I spend. And particularly when I'm trying to give the money from my hand, it's a proven fact that, since you have to pay it, when you have to pay the money, you're going to be less likely to spend that money if you have to pay by your hands. Because credit card, you are enjoying throughout the month. It's only 1 second that, while you pay the credit card bill, that you feel about the money gone. But if I'm actually paying the money with my own hands, obviously when I hand out 100 rupee note for a parking, it's absolutely ridiculous. So handling 20 rupees and then I give an extra 20 rupees to the parking guy. I mean, so that's my way of doing things. So you have to really do a very good level of introspection. You need to boost up your morale, your confidence. You have to accept things. You have to understand things. I'm not saying that for everyone it is going to be applicable. But no matter what, after a year and a half or two, once things are absolutely normalized, or not year and a half or two, maybe just a year later, maybe just 1 financial year later, you are going to be in a very, very good situation. Climbing out of, getting out of this, learning through this entire process. So now how do you react to it? It's going to be your choice, because you cannot control the economy. You cannot put $1 trillion in a economy or hire, just change everything at your company or anything. So basically you have to understand what's in your control, what you need to accept, and how you need to take advantage of the situation. So if you're going to be the person who's going to be at the front of, at the head of the things, and who's going to take charge, who's going to be confident, who's going to take the company through this kind of a turmoil, obviously that you'll be climbing faster. Maybe something that you deserve right now, you'll not get it, but with the compounded interest, you'll get it after a year or so. Who knows? So at least work hard towards it. I have I unfortunately am seeing people who are not trying to put their best foot forward in this situation, rather trying to take advantage of this situation, that since it's so basically people have expectation that I want the bonus, I want the salary, I want everything, but I don't want to work towards it just because it's a lockdown. Therefore I would want to stay at home and not work for the office as diligently as I would want to, despite the fact that I'm saving a lot of time on commute and I've got more focused, undisturbed continuous time frame that I have in order to work. But still I would not want to utilize that time, but rather I would want to just loiter around and fool around and relax and still expect these things. So just imagine in the next 1.5 years, your company may not have so much work possible. You might be a little idle. Now, whether you use that time to actually contribute, to actually take things, take charge and take the company up, is going to be up to you. I think I mentioned this article before, where, the person who in a job is going to be working like an entrepreneur is the one who succeeds and climbs up the ladder. And the kind of money that's there in job, and again, I think I'll do one podcast, one discussion on jobs versus entrepreneurship and business, because both have their own pros and cons and you have to decide the right reasons for it. But there is a businessman who could be earning 1 lakh rupees a month, and someone like a Sundar Pichai could be earning hundreds of crores per annum salary. So it depends, and there are businesses which earn like crores of money per annum as well. So I mean, it literally depends on how good or how where you're able to reach. So that's another discussion to do. So think about it, dwell on this, read more, build your EQ level, have a lot of faith and confidence in yourself, and think how are you going to be capitalizing on the situation. Don't crib about it. Think how you need to capitalize on this on this situation. So I hope this was helpful. I know it's got a little stretched, I believe, but I hope this helps. Thank you.